Tonight in our Marijuana 101 series, we ask if marijuana is a gateway drug. Now, many believe that smoking pot actually leads to using harder substances.
10 News reporter Shannon Smith breaks down why doctors say yes and no.
Drug addictions have to start somewhere.
I've never had anyone who said that heroin was the first drug that they ever tried or used.
Hilda Phipps with the Helen Ross McNabb Center says it starts with a gateway drug. That's a habit-forming substance that may lead to the use of other addictive drugs.
Somebody is taking a substance to change the way they feel.
The million-dollar question among doctors, is marijuana a gateway drug? The Centers for Disease Control says no, and others agree.
For the majority of folks, I would say no.
Addiction medicine specialist Dr. Mark McGrail works with patients at Cherokee Health Systems who deal with different drug addictions.
Not everybody who smokes marijuana goes on to develop either a substance use disorder or use another illicit substance.
The National Institute on Drug Abuse reports that same thing. But what about the marijuana users who do go on to develop a stronger addiction? The National Survey on Drug Use reports people who are addicted to marijuana are 3 times more likely to be addicted to heroin.
For people who have some other risk or predisposition to addiction, I would say that very often marijuana is the first substance used. In
cases like that, marijuana could be called a gateway drug. Doctors say your home life, peers, family environment, and genetics all play into if it will lead to a stronger addiction. But weed isn't the only thing that may make your brain likely to respond to other drugs.
I think our 2 biggest gateway drugs in this country are tobacco and alcohol. We don't tend to look at tobacco and alcohol because they're, quote, legal as gateway drugs, but that's where most people start.
And people start pretty young.
The age of first use is generally 12, and that's of any substance.
That's because gateway drugs are often what people find laying around the house, which in many states now includes pot.
It'll be on the nightstand. It'll be in the kitchen cabinet because, well, in that state you can do that.
Addiction specialists say for many people, using weed, cigarettes, or alcohol don't lead to harder drug use, especially if they're adults.
Really, it'd be ideal if they would delay until around age 25 when the prefrontal cortex is fully developed in the brain, and then the likelihood of having a problem with substances or becoming addicted is reduced dramatically.
So, is marijuana a gateway drug? Different drugs affect different people different ways. It all depends on who you are.
Here in Tennessee, it is against the law to use marijuana, but it is legal now to produce hemp. And that change in the law is leading to new challenges for authorities. A hemp plant is coming up on the left side of your screen, and a marijuana plant is on your right. You can see it's almost impossible to tell them apart. And if that's not confusing enough, some people think that the plants do smell the same as well.
Right now, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says it does not have a way to determine the THC levels in those plants. Local agencies are also dealing with the issue as more farmers gain licenses to grow the crop.
The real distinction is the THC level present in those plants, and so that presents a problem to us in law enforcement to be able to distinguish when we have a plant what the level is in that plant and whether it is marijuana or whether it is hemp.
The TBI Crime Lab is in the final stages of developing an extraction and analysis procedure. As to why the TBI doesn't have resources to test THC levels, back in March, a spokesperson told us when hemp was legalized, they were not provided extra funding. Right now at WBIR.com, you can find other stories from our Marijuana 101 series. There you can hear from a pharmacist and former patient that used the drug, and you can also hear from a lawmaker and drug abuse prevention expert and see the differences between hemp, marijuana, and CBD. All that at WBIR.com.